Hello, Hammerheads. Thanks for tuning in. Western civilization as we know it is finished. It's gone. Kaput. And why has it happened? I'll tell you why. Because of the woke, far-left snowflakes. Do-gooders. You know, the fascists. That's why. I mean, look at the feminists, for instance. The New Age feminists. They're not feminists because they despise women. It's not all about equal opportunities and, you know, rights for women like it used to be. It's not about that anymore. It's about destroying women's livelihoods now. That's what feminism is. Modern feminism. So look what they did to the grid girls a few years ago. Remember that? You know, to be a grid girl, there was a huge waiting list. It was a dream job. You got to travel the world, meet the stars, stay in 5-star hotels, everything laid on for you. Who wouldn't want a job like that? But because a panel of 4 or 5 so-called feminists, big, fat, ugly, blue-haired, tattooed, pierced, stubbled fucking so-called feminists sat there and abolished it. You know? A little group of fat fucks because they were jealous. Their reasoning was it sexualises women. Bullshit. The more plausible reason is, like I said, jealousy. What else could it have been? It was the dark girls, you know, the boxing girls, all of them, they've gone now because of feminism. All those poor women, their lives wrecked, jobs lost because of their jealousy. And what about women's sport? Men pretending to be women just so they can cheat at women's sport. Yeah? Which is championed by feminists. Which makes no sense. How can feminists be okay with men masquerading as women competing against women at sport, knowing fine well that they're going to beat them hands down? Be it weightlifting, rowing, swimming, boxing, wrestling, you name it. The man is always going to win. That's science, that's logic. Men have a bigger bone structure. You know, they have a deeper lung capacity, everything. You cannot get up one morning and just identify as a woman because you feel like it. And everybody's got to go along with it. There's people getting locked up for speaking the truth, basically, on Twitter. Yeah, it's happened. You know, there's been a few spats on Twitter. You know, some bloke pretending to be a woman on Twitter and some real woman has told them that you're not a real woman, you're a man dressed up as a woman. So the police have knocked on the door and locked her up for it. Locked her up for being scientifically fucking right, correct. I mean, the police are fucking useless. They've gone as woke as everyone else. That's feminism for you. I can go on about feminists, but I won't. Because they're not real feminists. They make me so angry, so I'm going to shut up about them for now. What about all the other virtue signallers, like the football players, for instance, kneeling down before every football match, eh? Pretending that it's in solidarity to stamp out racism in football, which is bullshit. Because if you do a little bit of research, you'll find out that you're actually bowing down to Marxism. Yes? A Marxist, toxic ideology, which is Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter do not care about black people. They do not care about black people. If they did care about black people, why do members of Black Lives Matter, why they're murdering innocent black people left, right and centre if they cared about black people. Just because of a career criminal, George Floyd, last year, Black Lives Matter reared their ugly heads once again. I mean, I've been following them, their antics, for almost 10 years. Yes, 10 years. So I know all about Black Lives Matter. I know all about them, what they're about, what they are, what they're after, what the demands are. And they have some pretty crazy demands, believe me. They want to wipe out the Jews, because they blame Jews for all mankind's ills. They want to destroy the traditional family unit by taking away the male from black communities. That's what the Democrats did in the 60s. They removed all the male figures from all the black communities. And as a result of that, crime and poverty went through the fucking roof. Black Lives Matter are supposed to be campaigning so they can have better lives for black communities. But yet they want to do what the Democrats did in the 60s. Makes sense, that, doesn't it? They're a destructive force. They don't care about anybody. It's virtue signalling on a massive scale. That's what Black Lives Matter represents, nothing else. Don't care about slavery. If they did, why don't they do something about it? They raised 90 million last year. Last year alone, 90 million. Where's the money gone? Do you know how much out of that 90 million went to black communities? 250,000. The other, all the rest of it, some of the founder members, went on mansion buying sprees and all the rest of it. In predominantly white areas, I might add. Hypocrites. Double standards at its highest there. What about Antifa? They're left-wing socialists. They're dying to live under a socialist or communist government. That's what they're after. Yeah? But yet, they call people like me a Nazi for disagreeing with that. Yet, Hitler and the Nazis were left-wing socialists. And what did Hitler's brown shirts do all those years ago? Burnt books. Cancelled people. Banned everything. Got rid of free speech. Destroyed democracy. Toppled statues. Ring any bells? And they, at Antifa, have the cheek to call everyone else a Nazi who's on the right. I mean, they foolishly describe themselves as anarchists, right? Definition of an anarchist: somebody who hates authority. They hate governments. They hate the police. Yet, socialism, communism, every single aspect of that country, in a communist or socialist country, is run by the government. Nobody benefits from communism or socialism but the government. Nobody else. 100 million people died under it in less than a century. That's not a few people, that's not a handful, that's a lot. Poverty, starvation, eventually death. That's socialism. Ask the Venezuelans. They'll tell you how grand it is living under socialism. When I lived in South Africa, when Robert Mugabe took over fucking Rhodesia, became Zimbabwe, socialist government. Citizens had to flee to Johannesburg and everywhere else where I was living. I heard some tales and stories what socialism was like in Zimbabwe, let me tell you. People having to sell their fucking properties at a quarter of the value. They couldn't buy anything in the shops because the shops are all empty. No food, nothing. Black Lives Matter also, you know, they want to destroy... they want to destroy the police force. Not defund them, but they want to abolish them altogether. It's one of the dumbest fucking ideas I've ever heard in my life, that. And yet if there's any bother, who do they call? The fucking police. Look at all the Democrat-run cities in America where the police have been defunded. You know, Chicago, Portland, New York, San Francisco, LA. They're all fucking crumbling. They're just complete fucking shitholes because the Democrat-run cities. No police force anymore. And if there is one, they refuse to go into them neighbourhoods. That's what they wanted, isn't it? Now they've got it. You know, I get dickheads like Lenny Henry and David Lammy saying, we don't want white saviours sending aid. I wouldn't send anything to fucking charity anyway, because it never goes to charity, does it? Look at all that money for Live Aid people raised. 1984, 85. Wonder where that money went, eh? There's millions. Wonder where it went. Tell you where it went. Didn't go on aid or food for Ethiopians. It went straight to the government to buy arms, weapons, ammunition. That's where that money went. Coincidentally enough, Ethiopia, they've been that loggerhead. They're in the grip of a civil war and have been for decades. Do you think that's a coincidence? I don't. So every time you fucking send a few quid abroad, oh, it's only £2, help the panda, save the dolphins, whatever. That money's not going to help them fucking causes. Is it shite? Goes on office chairs or fucking not starving kids. Armoury, weapons, explosives. Wake up. This is the far left. Destroying everything. Comedy. The film industry. The music industry. Sport. Gaming industry. TV. I mean, look at comedy now. It's finished. It's gone. Even past shows from the 70s. They come with warnings at the beginning now. You know the German episode, The Fawlty Towers? When you have Basil Fawlty mocking Hitler and the Nazis, you know, making fun of them. It triggered the snowflakes. Well, I thought they didn't like Nazis. John Cleese was making fun of them. Nothing the left say or do makes any sense. But what about the new policy in America? American Airlines. They don't want skilled pilots anymore. In the next 5 or 10 years, they only want transgender pilots, black pilots, people of colour, females. Skills, they've gone out the window. Putting everyone's life at risk. Just a virtue signal. You know, we're talking about fucking hundreds of people's lives on airliners here. Insane. What about same-sex toilets? That's an idea of the far left, isn't it? Crazy idea. What good's it gonna do? There's a reason why we have male and female toilets. What about drag queens going into schools, nursery schools, teaching babies about gay sex? Another idea of the far left. But you say anything to the headmaster if you're a proud parent, you get dragged through the court system for being homophobic or something. Fuck your kids' well-being, welfare. Fuck that. Kids don't matter anymore. What matters is people's feelings, not facts, not science, not reality. People's feelings getting fucking hurt. People getting arrested for it. For telling the truth. Happened to me. People saying cancel culture doesn't exist. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. Again, happened to me 6 years ago. And it's not a new thing either. What other crazy crackpot ideas of the fucking far left come? Oh, aye, banning innocent children books, Dr. Seuss books. Nothing offensive in them. One of them had a cartoon, you know, there were pictures in, stories and stuff. Some had Chinese people using chopsticks. Oh, they says it's offensive to Chinese people. Chinese people use chopsticks? What was he supposed to do? Stick a fork and a knife in their hands? That would be offensive then, wouldn't it? What about the real harm, the real danger to children from the far left? You know, irreparable damage, irreversible damage, like same-sex toilets, same-sex changing rooms at schools, drag queens going to nursery, you know, telling them dirty fucking porn stories to little fucking toddlers. You know, the real harm to children. I'm just waiting for when paedophilia is going to be so normalised, and it won't be too long in coming, it'll be fucking legalised. Antifa are pushing for it. They're all for like underage sex with kids. I mean, let's face it, it's already legal in a lot of Middle Eastern countries, isn't it? And they're bringing it over here now, parts of Europe. It's happening. Forced marriages, you know, 50-year-old men marrying 6-year-old girls. But Western authorities turn a blind eye to it because it's a cultural thing. And if you say anything about it because you care about children, you'll be hauled through the court system, branded a racist, just because you care about children. I don't care what happens to me. You can call me all the Nazis under the sun, all the bigots, all the homophobes, all the fucking racists. I don't give a fuck. Arrest me, lock me up. But I will never go down that road of paedophilia, child abuse. Never. Not in this lifetime. I don't care what names I get called because of it. And I've been called a lot of names because I disagree with it. I disagree with underage sex. You should hear the names I've been called because of it. The far left are fucking poisonous, horrible, fascist, toxic animals. No, they're not animals. I wouldn't insult the animal kingdom by calling them that. They're monsters. They're destroying the very fabric of Western society. Thousands of fucking illegal migrants coming here. 5-star hotels. You know, if they don't like the food. Like what happened in Glasgow not long ago. Someone went on a stabbing spree because he didn't like his main meal or something, you know. What about now in Oxford University? They voted to remove the picture of the Queen. Fucking Queen. Even the Queen has been cancelled. It's an absolute fucking disgrace. No, like I say, it's finished. We've gone too far. You know, you can't even protest about it because you'll just get locked up. What's the point? You know what I mean? You'll lose your freedom, everything. You know, I mean, the Democrats are absolutely destroying America. Destroying it. America's gone now. Trump was the best thing that ever happened to that country. He stuck by every one of his pre-election speeches. How many other leaders do you know who's done that? None. None. Anyway, see you later.